holy crap, this episode was amazing. Like, I would put this one top tier for the season already, episode 3, and we're just getting into it. Like, whenever you get an action scene in a series, it's, you know what it is, it's an action scene, whatever. But for some reason, when this show has action scenes, even if they are shorter lived, they feel just hyped up to the maximum and just really, really blow you away. Between the animation and just the character decisions and some of like the more unique, rare-esque type of moves they have, it just blows my mind every time. Like, this show deserves to be on the top upper part of the season, and it's earning its title. So let's talk about it, and then afterwards we'll get a little bit more and such, and just, the usual. So yeah, this episode starts off where it ended last week, with Sid on top, thinking, he took care of the main boss before he got to the main boss, at least before the main boss happened. And technically speaking, he did. However, obviously, he got there a little too early. So he's, just whining, freaking about, taking the rest of the coins and going home if there's really nothing here, because that was obviously absolutely nothing. He just shows up and blows up the boss's head. But he gets that done, and his sister and Mary show up, and they're both obviously, one's looking for Sid, one's looking for the queen. And before we even know it, the next thing, his sister freaking gets stabbed right through the chest, point blank, like Claire just gushing blood, tentacle straight through the chest, right? And then we get to see the Blood Queen in her form, and she just looks absolutely vicious. And within 2 seconds, before we know it, she's got Claire in her arms with her fangs out, and she bites into Claire's throat. She takes the blood and frickin' just drains her. But before we know it, coming to the rescue is Beta, right? Beta comes with a few other girls. I want to say, I know Rose is one of them, and some others I didn't really get a very good look at, so I can't really tell you per se. But she comes and chops off the queen's head and gets Claire out of her arms. And she ships Claire to one of the other girls, which I really don't think it's Gamma, because this Gamma, I feel like she'd be more in charge. But right after that, so we get her, right? And she's healing her. And obviously Claire can only do so much because she had her throat slit with her teeth, and tentacle right through her chest, however. But, so they're trying to heal her the best they can. And between that and everything going on, obviously, Claire's taking priority, being Shadow's sister. However, they do have to kind of take care of the Red Queen until at least Shadow shows up. So they're fighting her, and frickin', of course, Mary's, mentally giving them warnings about how tough she is, and the fact that she was a slow riser due to her blood pressure. So, of course, she's cranky and tired because she's been asleep for 1,000 years, Just the little subtle punch jokes that this show puts in are absolutely fucking hilarious. But while they're doing that, the freaking other two black and white tower guardians are observing the fight as it's going on. And, of course, Juggernaut has to jump in, and he tries to punch her right in the face and instantly gets smacked back to the boulders. Like, he's taking care of it in about 10 seconds flat. And so he's on the boulders, and the white tower gal is back, just critiquing him left and right as she does this like encore of like blood that's falling from the sky, and it's just freaking brutal, right? And so before frickin' Juggernaut can get up and try to fight again, he's already done. He's capped out. Broken leg, absolutely done. And so the girls are protecting Claire over there from the rainfall. And obviously Rose is pretty much the only one that's not covering up Claire, while the other two have taken heavy damage, right? And we come to see that the Red Queen has taken absolutely like no damage whatsoever, nor has she like lost any magic or mana. So like, and on top of it, the blood's healing her. So like, obviously, Beta commands, oh my gosh, freaking, that's the only thing, is there's so many damn names in this show. But Beta commands Rose to take Claire out of there and heal her, because that's something that she needs to do in order to protect her, and obviously Sid, not make him pissed off. But before she knows it, the blood that they have been like tainted with is starting to like transform and turn into this like evil goop, um even like with Shadow's goop. So like that whole thing's going on, and then on top of it, Claire right now is like sedated and like talking to the witch from the last season that Claire ends up saving, and like she's in this like mindset thing right now, and like almost like a different dimension, and she's talking to the witch, and the witch is like explain to her that pretty soon she's gonna like rot, because we kind of talked about that last episode, that obviously something's wrong with Claire. And but the witch is trying to figure everything out, and make sure that she can be able to function on and have a purpose and everything, because her body has like two different blood types and they're fighting against each other. And so the witch is pretty much giving her this like power, I want to say, or some type of clue or map or something to help her guide through this. And before she leaves in this like dream, she tells her who she is and why she helped her, because she is Shadow's brother, but she doesn't allude to that just because obviously Sid doesn't want her to know quite yet. So we come back to the real world, and Claire has been taken over by the witch, right? And instantly has to unbutton the top because it's a little too small, and freaking goes and like literally just like mocks the freaking girls from Shadow Garden, because like of how easy blood magic is, and like considering she made most of these moves herself back in the day, she's gonna show her this like almighty move, right? But right before she can do it, the wrist snaps on Claire's body, because Claire's body's too weak to perform these spells, and so it doesn't work, so she can't show us her ultimate move, which is a real shame, because I really wanted to see the ultimate move. But I digress. And freaking she calls back to Claire's body, because now Shadow has arrived, and Shadow shows up, and there's just gold coins flying everywhere, which is one of those jokes again, because like at first he's not doing any blows, he's just blocking the girls, and the girls are just thankful, and Beta's questioning why he's not attacking her. And as she's holding on to her like huge distorted organs because of whatever the hell that poison thing's going on, like she assumes that he's blocking all these attacks to save them, even though in reality he's like talking about not being able to afford to lose a single one. So it looks like he's talking about the girls, but in reality he's talking about the gold coins that he's shattering throughout this whole thing going on right now. So it's absolutely freaking hilarious. But right after that, we get to see these two go head to head right off the bat with her huge blood scythe and his little shadow sword. And this fight is freaking fantastic. The animation, the pacing, everything along with those lines is going freaking great. And of course, the White Tower biatch is over there, and she's like critiquing it and licking her lips like in excitement. And these two just keep going head to head until right before Shadow's gonna end it, and she knows that he's gonna end it. She asks for his name, and he tells her his name, and does this like reverse atomic move where everything turns black and white, and the red moon like disappears, and everything starts to go back to normal. And obviously Claire's gonna be all right, we find out. But obviously Beta's not doing so hot, and everything's starting to go back to normal. Obviously Mary's with the Red Queen and just making sure she's all right, because Sid didn't end up taking her out. He pretty much just reversed the curse and the red moon and everything, so everything would be back to normal, which is kind of neat. Doesn't exactly murder her, but makes it so that it just won't happen again, or at least right now. So obviously we go to Juggernaut, and he's talking about wanting to fight with Shadow, and then we get this other thing with the two warriors that got abducted and sold off to the market, and they lost all their shit, and then the two friends are over there too, and they didn't get laid, and freaking just one thing after another. So we see Sid and Claire on the cart, and she's freaking contemplating the memory she had and everything on her hand, and starts talking to Sid about the fact that she has these powers that are taking root in her hand, and she just wants him to know that, she doesn't know what to do, but she's going to try her best. And of course, Sid, being the brother that he is and knowing what's going on, confronts her and, tells her it's going to be all right. And, he'll always be there for her. And you get this nice comforting hand touch. And before we can end this scene, she asks Sid about if he knows who Shadow is. And he just kind of blatantly, goes off the fact that it's the guy, that blew up the school and everything. And she just kind of nods it off. But obviously all's well that ends well. And that's all she needs to know for now until Sid's ready, because I'm assuming she's clearly going to find out, obviously, eventually. But Sid didn't get as much money as he wanted to from the city. And so he's like, well, you know what? It is what it is, because he can always go back to the lawless city and make that money back. However, we get to this after credits scene and we get to see the White Fox gal and Sid in this train, and she's confronting him and obviously wanting something, and that's going to come in the next episode because that is the end of the episode. Overall, I think this episode was freaking fantastic. Like, go watch this if you haven't watched this after watching my review, because obviously I can tell you all I want and commentate on the episode, but it's not going to do the justice of that fight scene, because that fight scene was absolutely freaking fantastic. And just the way it plays out, it just always feels so fastly paced, but just perfectly paced at the same time. Great episode. Great series. Give it a go if you haven't. This is like a 9 out of 10 episode. Absolutely out of the park. And if you enjoy this video, please leave a like. It means a lot to me. And if you really want to help out the channel, hit that subscribe button. It keeps me going, and we got so much to do. I'm doing this one in Goblin Slayer, and I'm doing Ragnar Crimson, slightly doing Frerian. I should really catch up on that, but I think instead of Frerian, since it's not really drawing much to you guys, I think I'll do some random, horror Halloween reviews. So, yeah, with that being said, this has been Squids, and I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and we'll see you later. Bye.